My Apache neighbor caught me on a blind date, then she said, "Why didn't you ask me out instead?" Alex sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his reflection in the mirror. His hands were sweaty, and his heart was racing faster than it had in a long time. Today wasn't just any ordinary day. It was the day of his blind date. A blind date he hadn't asked for, really, but one that his friend had insisted he go on. "You'll thank me later," his friend had said with a grin, completely ignoring the nervous knot in Alex's stomach. He wasn't so sure. He had always been cautious when it came to dating. Meeting new people always made him anxious, and he preferred the comfort of familiar faces. There was only one person he felt truly comfortable around, his neighbor Maya. She had been living next door for a few years, and over time, Alex had grown fond of her. She was kind, funny, and smart, the kind of person who could light up a room with her laughter. But asking someone out was never easy for Alex, especially someone like Maya. He had always worried about saying the wrong thing or making things awkward between them. So, he never asked. Instead, here he was, preparing for a blind date with a complete stranger. His friend had found her online and insisted that they were perfect for each other. Alex had reluctantly agreed, not wanting to hurt his friend's enthusiasm, but every time he thought about it, he couldn't help but feel a little foolish. He stood up and tried to calm himself. "Okay, Alex, you can do this," he muttered under his breath. He went through his wardrobe, carefully picking out clothes that made him look neat but not too flashy. He settled on a light blue shirt and a pair of dark jeans, thinking it was the perfect balance between casual and smart. After all, first impressions mattered, even if he didn't know what kind of impression he wanted to leave. As he was tying his shoes, Alex heard a soft knock on the window. He froze and turned around slowly, only to see Maya standing outside, leaning casually against the frame. She was holding a small notebook in her hand, and her hair caught the sunlight in a way that made it shine. Alex felt his face heat up. "Hey, Alex," she said with a teasing smile. "Big plans today?" Alex swallowed hard, trying to act casual. Yeah, sort of. Just meeting someone." Maya raised an eyebrow, a playful glint in her eyes. "Oh, really? A blind date?" Alex nodded, feeling even more nervous under her gaze. "Yeah, my friend set it up." "I didn't exactly have a choice," Maya chuckled softly, shaking her head. "Well, good luck." "I hope she's interesting." Alex forced a smile and nodded. "Thanks, I guess." He waved awkwardly, then grabbed his coat and headed out the door. As he walked down the steps, he couldn't help but glance back at Maya. She was still watching him, her smile lingering. His heart skipped a beat. He quickly turned his attention forward, trying not to think about how much he wished he was going to see her instead. The cafe where Alex was meeting his date was only a short walk away. It was a small, cozy place with warm lighting and the aroma of fresh coffee. When he arrived, he spotted his date sitting at a table near the window. She was smiling politely, scrolling through her phone. Alex's stomach twisted with nerves as he approached her. "Hi, I'm Alex," he said, extending his hand. "Hi, Alex. I'm Jenna," she replied, shaking his hand with a warm but slightly awkward smile. They both sat down, and for a few minutes there was an uncomfortable silence as they tried to make small talk. Alex asked about her job, her hobbies, and her favorite books, while Jenna responded politely but didn't seem particularly enthusiastic. Alex nodded along, trying to appear interested, but his mind kept wandering back to Maya. He wished he could be having this conversation with her instead, laughing and joking like they always did. Just as Alex was starting to relax a little, he noticed a familiar figure outside the window. Maya was walking by holding a cup of coffee, and for a moment she didn't see him. Alex's heart skipped a beat. She was dressed casually in a comfortable sweater and jeans, her hair tied back in a simple ponytail. She looked effortless, as always, and Alex felt a pang of longing. Then she looked up and saw him. Their eyes met, and Maya's smile widened. She waved casually, and Alex froze, not sure what to do. He waved back, but in a way that probably looked awkward and forced. Jenna noticed the exchange and tilted her head slightly, a question forming in her eyes. "Someone you know?" she asked carefully. Alex's cheeks turned red. Just a neighbor, he mumbled, wishing the ground would swallow him whole. Maya, ever observant, raised an eyebrow and gave him a small nod before continuing on her way. Alex let out a quiet sigh of relief, though his nerves were still jangling. The rest of the conversation with Jenna became even more strained as Alex's attention kept drifting to the window, wondering if Maya might come back. He tried to focus on Jenna, asking her more questions and sharing small stories about his life, but nothing seemed to capture his interest. He laughed politely at her jokes and nodded along, but his heart wasn't in it. Every time he thought about asking Maya out, he felt a mixture of regret and hesitation. What if she didn't feel the same way? What if he ruined their friendship? Minutes felt like hours as the blind date continued. Alex fidgeted with his coffee cup, pretending to listen, but his mind was elsewhere. He imagined all the moments he could have shared with Maya instead. Walking in the park, chatting over coffee, laughing about silly things. He realized just how much he valued her presence, how her laughter could instantly lighten his mood, and how her kindness had always made him feel seen. Eventually, Alex glanced up and noticed Maya again, this time sitting at a nearby table, reading a book. She hadn't approached him yet, but she seemed perfectly at ease, as if she knew he was there. Seeing her so calm and confident only made Alex feel more nervous. He couldn't help but wonder if she had noticed how awkward he was on the date, and he felt a little embarrassed for himself. Jenna, sensing Alex's distraction, asked if he was okay. He nodded quickly, forcing a smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking. Jenna didn't press further, but Alex could tell the date was not going as smoothly as he had hoped. He felt guilty for not being fully present, but he couldn't help it. All he could think about was Maya, the neighbor he had admired from afar for so long. He wished he had the courage to tell her how he felt, to ask her out, and to stop hiding behind polite smiles and hesitant words. As the date drew to a close, Alex felt a mix of relief and disappointment. He had survived the blind date, but it had only reminded him of what he truly wanted. Someone familiar, someone who already understood him, someone like Maya. He paid the bill, thanked Jenna politely, and stepped outside, taking a deep breath of fresh air. And there, standing just across the street, was Maya. She was leaning against the wall, sipping her coffee, watching him with that knowing smile that made his heart race. For a moment, Alex forgot about everything else. The awkward date, the nerves, the questions of what-ifs. All he could think about was her. He walked toward her slowly, unsure of what to say, but feeling a strange sense of hope. Maya's smile widened as she greeted him, and Alex felt a spark of courage he hadn't known he had. Perhaps today wasn't just a blind date gone wrong. It could be the beginning of something else entirely. Alex felt his heart pounding as he approached Maya. The city street was quiet, the evening sun casting a golden glow on the buildings and the sidewalk. For a moment, it felt as if the world had shrunk down to just the two of them. Maya tilted her head slightly, her hair catching the sunlight, her smile warm but teasing. Alex tried to speak, but his words tangled in his throat. "Hey," he finally managed, his voice a little higher than normal. "Hey," Maya replied, still smiling. "Out on a special evening, I see." Her tone was playful, and Alex instantly felt both embarrassed and relieved. Yeah, he said, scratching the back of his neck. "I mean, yes, sort of. I went on a blind date." Maya raised an eyebrow, and her smile widened. "And you didn't tell me about it?" Alex chuckled nervously. I didn't really think it was a big deal. Just something my friend set up." I didn't want to say no. Maya leaned back against the wall, crossing her arms casually. "So let me get this straight," she said, her tone teasing. "You go on a blind date with some stranger, but you don't even think to ask the girl next door out?" Alex froze. His cheeks burned red, and he felt as if the ground could swallow him whole. I don't know," he stammered. "I guess I didn't want to make things awkward. I didn't know if you'd, You know," He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. Maya laughed softly, shaking her head.
Alex, it wouldn't be awkward. You just never asked.
I mean, seriously. You've been living next door for years, and you're still waiting for a sign from me? Alex looked down, embarrassed but also a little relieved that she wasn't angry. I didn't want to ruin our friendship. You're important to me, Maya. I didn't want to risk it. Maya's expression softened. She pushed off the wall and took a small step closer to him. Alex, she said gently, sometimes if you wait too long, life just moves on. You should have said something. Alex swallowed hard, feeling a mixture of regret and hope. I know, he admitted. I should have, but I didn't know how. Maya smiled, her eyes sparkling. Well, now you do, she teased, and Alex felt a rush of warmth spread through him. For a moment they stood in comfortable silence, watching people pass by on the street. The distant sounds of cars and laughter from nearby cafes filled the air. Alex felt a strange mixture of relief and nervousness. He had always admired Maya from afar, but now, standing in front of her, he realized how much he wanted to be honest, how much he wanted to take the chance he had been avoiding for so long. So, what happened with the blind date? Maya asked, breaking the silence. Her tone was curious but light, and Alex realized he hadn't even thought about answering that question yet. Alex laughed nervously.
Oh, it didn't go very well, he admitted. I kept thinking about you the whole time.
I guess I wasn't really present. Maya laughed, a soft, melodic sound that made Alex's heart skip a beat. I can imagine, she said. You're hopeless, you know that? I guess I am, Alex said, smiling despite himself. But at least I survived it. Maya shook her head, still smiling. You didn't just survive it, Alex. You learned something important. You realized who you really want to be with. Alex nodded, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. Yeah, he said quietly. I think I did. They began walking together side by side down the quiet street. Alex felt a sense of comfort he hadn't felt in years. Being next to Maya, talking to her, laughing with her, it felt natural, easy, like breathing. He realized how much he had missed this, how much he had taken for granted the simple moments they shared as neighbors. So, tell me, Maya said, breaking the comfortable silence again. Why didn't you ever ask me out before? Alex laughed nervously. I don't know. I was scared, I guess. Scared of rejection. Scared of ruining what we have. I thought it was safer to stay silent. Maya stopped walking and looked at him, her expression serious but kind. Alex, sometimes the safest choice isn't the best one. You can't let fear decide for you all the time. Life is too short for that. Alex felt a lump in his throat. He had always known Maya was wise, but hearing her say this directly to him made his heart ache a little. He realized she was right. He had wasted so much time waiting, worrying and imagining what could go wrong instead of taking the chance. I understand, he said quietly. And I think I'm ready now. Maya tilted her head, her smile returning, curious and encouraging. Ready for what? Alex took a deep breath, his heart pounding. Ready to ask you out, he said, his voice steady despite the nerves. I've liked you for a long time, Maya. I just didn't know how to say it. But I want to now. Maya's eyes widened slightly, then softened. She reached out and gently touched his arm. Alex, she said, I've been waiting for you to say that. Alex blinked, surprised. You what? I've been waiting, Maya said with a laugh, shaking her head. I always hoped you would. I could see it. You've been nervous, shy, but always kind, always thoughtful. I didn't know if you felt the same way. Alex felt a surge of happiness and relief. I do, he said simply. I really do. Maya smiled, her eyes shining. Well, in that case, she said, teasing him lightly again, I guess the blind date wasn't necessary after all. Alex laughed, feeling a mix of embarrassment and joy.
Yeah, you're right.
They continued walking, talking and laughing as the sun dipped lower in the sky. Alex felt a sense of freedom and excitement he hadn't experienced in a long time. It was as if a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. He realized that sometimes the most important thing was not to wait for the perfect moment, but to create it yourself. As they reached a quiet park, Maya stopped and turned to him. "So, are you going to take me out on a real date now?" she asked, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Alex smiled, feeling a mixture of excitement and relief. "Yes," he said, feeling more confident than he had in years. "I would love to." Maya laughed softly, and together they sat on a bench, watching the sky turn shades of pink and orange. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt truly happy, knowing that he had finally taken the step he had been avoiding. He had faced his fears, and it had led him to this moment. With Maya, the person he had admired and cared for all along. They talked about everything and nothing. Their favorite memories, funny stories from the neighborhood, dreams for the future. Alex realized that the connection he had with Maya was deeper than he had ever imagined. It wasn't just about attraction. It was about understanding, trust, and the comfort of knowing someone truly cared. As the evening grew darker and the stars began to appear in the sky, Alex knew this was just the beginning. The blind date had been awkward and uncomfortable, but it had led him to something far more meaningful. And for the first time in a long time, he felt hopeful, excited, and ready for whatever came next, side by side with Maya. Alex walked back toward the cafe, still feeling the warmth of Maya's smile lingering in his mind. The sun was beginning to dip behind the buildings, and the city lights flickered on one by one, casting a soft glow on the streets. He felt a mix of nervousness and excitement as he approached the cafe where his blind date Jenna was still sitting. His hands fidgeted with his coat zipper, and he took a deep breath to steady himself. Inside the cafe, Jenna was scrolling on her phone, occasionally glancing up as if expecting Alex to return at any moment. The moment he stepped in, she looked up and gave him a polite smile. "Hey," she said. "You're back early." Alex swallowed hard. Yeah, I just needed a moment," he said, trying to sound casual. In reality, he was nervous about how awkward things had been before, and now he had another unexpected surprise. From behind him, a familiar voice called out, playful and confident, "Well, well, look who's here." Alex froze. His heart skipped a beat. He turned around slowly, and there was Maya, standing just inside the doorway, her presence commanding attention without even trying. She had her hair loosely tied, a soft sweater hugging her frame, and a bright, mischievous smile on her face. "Hi," she said casually, as if dropping by a cafe in the middle of the evening was the most normal thing in the world. But Alex knew this was far from normal. Jenna blinked, confusion and curiosity mixing on her face. "Do I know you?" she asked politely. Maya tilted her head slightly, still smiling. "You don't, but I know him," she said, nodding toward Alex. "I'm his neighbor. I also happen to be the person he's been too nervous to ask out for years." Alex felt his cheeks heat up. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Maya's eyes twinkled with amusement, clearly enjoying his discomfort. Jenna, sensing the tension and the strange familiarity between Alex and Maya, gave a polite laugh. "Oh, I see," she said slowly. "Well, that's, interesting." Maya walked closer, her steps confident and relaxed. "Interesting indeed," she said. "Alex, I thought you'd be brave enough to ask me out already. Instead, you went on a blind date with this lovely lady." She glanced at Jenna and smiled warmly. "Don't worry, I'm not mad. Just surprised." Alex scratched the back of his neck, feeling a mix of embarrassment and relief. Maya, he stammered, unable to find the right words. Maya laughed softly, the sound gentle but teasing. "Alex, you don't have to explain yourself to her. It's fine. I just wish you had asked me first." Jenna, sensing she was no longer the center of attention, nodded politely and excused herself. "I'll leave you two to Sort things out, she said with a small smile. She gathered her belongings and walked toward the door, giving Alex a polite nod before leaving. As soon as Jenna left, Maya turned to him, her expression softening. Now, she said, leaning slightly on the edge of the table, why don't you tell me why you've been avoiding asking me out all this time? Alex sighed, sitting down across from her. I don't know, he admitted honestly. I've always liked you, Maya. I was scared. Scared that if I said something it would ruin our friendship. I didn't want to make things awkward or push you away. Maya listened patiently, her eyes kind and understanding. Alex, she said finally, sometimes we let fear stop us from doing the right thing. You can't let fear make decisions for you forever. Alex nodded slowly, feeling the weight of her words. I know, he said quietly. And now after tonight I realize I don't want to wait any longer. I want to be honest with you. I want to ask you out. Maya's eyes lit up, and she smiled warmly. You finally decided to be brave, she said teasingly. Good. It's about time. Alex laughed nervously, feeling a rush of relief and excitement. Yeah, I guess it is. For a while they sat in silence, just enjoying each other's presence. The cafe was still warm and cozy, the soft hum of conversation around them creating a comforting background. Alex realized how much he had missed moments like this, moments where he could just be himself with Maya, without worrying about pretense or awkwardness.
Maya leaned back in her chair, her eyes twinkling with amusement.
You know, she said, this is kind of funny. Here you are on a blind date that didn't work out, and I just happen to walk in at the perfect moment.
Life has a sense of humor, doesn't it?
Alex chuckled. Yeah, I guess it does, he admitted.
It's like it was leading me to this moment anyway. Maya smiled, her expression softening. Maybe it was, she said. Maybe it was waiting for you to finally realize what's important.
Alex felt a lump in his throat. He had spent so long worrying about what could go wrong, and now he saw clearly what could go right.
Being with Maya, talking to her, sharing a laugh, it was more than he had ever hoped for. So, Maya said after a moment, leaning forward slightly, are you going to ask me out now, for real? Alex took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of nerves and excitement.
Yes, he said, his voice steady. I want to.
I've liked you for a long time, and I don't want to wait anymore. Would you go out with me? Maya's smile widened, and she reached across the table, placing her hand gently over his. Yes, Alex, she said softly.
I've been waiting for you to say that. I hoped you would, but I didn't know if you ever would.
Alex felt a wave of relief and happiness wash over him.
Really? He asked, his voice full of wonder. Really? Maya said, laughing softly. And honestly, I was starting to think I might have to ask you myself. Alex laughed, the sound of it light and full of joy. I guess I'm lucky you didn't, he said.
They spent the next hour talking, laughing, and catching up. Maya shared funny stories about her day, and Alex told her about the awkward moments from his blind date, exaggerating the funniest parts to make her laugh. The cafe faded into the background as they focused entirely on each other. Alex realized that it wasn't just about asking someone out. It was about being present, being honest, and taking chances when the heart demanded it. Maya had been there all along, a constant presence in his life, and now he finally understood how much he had taken for granted. As the evening drew to a close, Alex and Maya left the cafe together. The city lights shimmered around them, and the streets were quiet except for the occasional sound of passing cars. So, Maya said, smiling up at him, when is this real date happening? Alex grinned. How about tomorrow? Maya laughed. Perfect, she said, but no blind dates, okay? Alex nodded, feeling a warmth in his chest that he had never felt before. No blind dates, he promised, just us. As they walked side by side down the street, Alex felt a sense of excitement and hope that he hadn't felt in years. The awkwardness of the blind date, the nerves, the fear, they all seemed so distant now. What mattered was this moment, this chance, and the beginning of something new and wonderful with Maya. And for the first time in a long time, Alex felt truly happy, knowing that sometimes life had a funny way of showing you the path you were meant to take. Alex and Maya stepped out of the cafe into the cool evening air, the warm glow of the streetlights creating a gentle halo around them. The bustling city had quieted down a little, leaving the faint hum of distant traffic and the occasional laughter from nearby pedestrians. For the first time that day, Alex felt a sense of calm wash over him. The awkwardness of the blind date, the embarrassment, and the nerves. All of it seemed to fade away with every step he took beside Maya. They walked side by side, their shoulders occasionally brushing. And each time it happened, Alex felt a little spark of electricity, reminding him how much he had wanted to be close to her for years. Maya seemed relaxed, her laughter light and easy, as if she had been waiting for this moment too. "So," Maya began, a teasing smile playing on her lips, "you survived the blind date? Congratulations." "That takes courage." Alex laughed nervously. "I wouldn't call it courage," he admitted. "More like desperation. I couldn't stop thinking about you the entire time. I felt like I was betraying you somehow, just by being there." Maya shook her head, her smile softening. "Alex, you don't need to feel guilty. Life is strange sometimes. It leads us in directions we don't expect. But I'm glad you're finally here. With me." Alex's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to tell her everything he had been holding back for years. The moments he admired her from a distance, the small acts of kindness that had made him like her more each day, the countless times he had imagined asking her out but had been too scared. He realized that now, standing here with her, he had a chance to share it all. "You know," he said slowly, "I've wanted to tell you something for a long time." Maya tilted her head, her expression curious.
"Oh? And what's that?"
Alex took a deep breath, summoning all the courage he could muster.
"I've liked you for years, Maya.
I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid of ruining our friendship, and I didn't want to lose what we already had." Maya's eyes softened, and she reached out to gently touch his arm. "Alex," she said, her voice warm and reassuring, "I've noticed."
"I've always noticed. You've been shy, nervous,
but also kind and thoughtful.
I was just waiting for you to realize that sometimes you have to take a chance."
Alex felt a wave of relief and happiness wash over him. He had been holding back for so long, and now, finally, it felt as if a weight had been lifted off his shoulders. "I'm ready now," he said quietly. "Ready to be honest, to stop hiding my feelings." Maya smiled, a mixture of amusement and affection in her eyes. "It's about time," she teased.
"I was beginning to think you'd never say anything." They continued walking, the comfortable silence between them filled with unspoken understanding. Alex realized that the connection he had with Maya was more than just friendship or attraction. It was a deep, unspoken bond built over years of familiarity, shared moments, and quiet admiration. "So," Maya said after a moment, breaking the silence, "if you like me so much, why didn't you ever ask me out before?" Alex chuckled, scratching the back of his neck. "I was scared. Scared of rejection. Scared of making things awkward. I thought it was safer to stay silent." Maya shook her head gently, laughing softly. "Alex, sometimes the safest choice isn't the best one. You can't let fear make decisions for you all the time. Life is too short for that." Alex nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle in his chest. "I know," he said quietly. "And now I realize I don't want to wait any longer. I want to be brave, to take the chance." Maya reached out and gently held his hand, their fingers intertwining naturally. "Then take the chance," she said softly. "I've been waiting for you to do it. I hoped you would, but I wasn't sure if you ever would."
Alex's heart raced as he looked into her eyes. "I do want to," he said sincerely. "I want to go on a real date with you, Maya. No awkward setups, no blind dates, just us." Maya laughed, a soft, melodic sound that made Alex's chest feel warm. "Finally," she said. "I was beginning to wonder if you'd ever get it." They found a quiet bench in a nearby park. the soft rustling of leaves and the distant sound of children playing in the background creating a peaceful atmosphere. They sat down, still holding hands, their conversation flowing naturally. Alex shared funny stories about his blind date, exaggerating the awkward moments to make Maya laugh. She laughed freely, her eyes sparkling with amusement. It felt effortless, like they had always known each other, like the years of friendship had prepared them for this moment. Maya, in turn, shared small stories about her day, little things that made Alex smile. He realized that he had missed these moments, the small, everyday interactions that made life richer and more meaningful. He had been so focused on fear and hesitation that he hadn't noticed how much he wanted to share his life with her. "You know," Maya said after a while, her tone more serious, "I've always admired how thoughtful you are, Alex. You notice things, small things that others might overlook. That's one of the reasons I like you." Alex felt a lump in his throat. "I like you too, Maya, more than I can explain." Maya smiled, squeezing his hand gently. "I know," she said softly. "And now, finally, we don't have to hide it anymore." They sat together, talking and laughing as the evening grew darker, the stars beginning to appear in the sky. Alex realized that this moment was more than just a new beginning. It was a turning point. The fear and hesitation that had held him back for years no longer mattered. What mattered was honesty, courage, and the willingness to take a chance on something meaningful. "So," Maya said, breaking the comfortable silence, "what's the plan now? Are we going on a real date tomorrow?" Alex grinned, feeling excitement and joy coursing through him. "Absolutely tomorrow. Just us. No blind dates, no awkward setups."
Maya laughed softly, leaning her head slightly on his shoulder.
"Good. Because I've been waiting for this for a long time." Alex felt a wave of happiness and relief wash over him. He realized that sometimes the best things in life come from taking a risk, from being honest about your feelings, and from trusting that the person who matters will understand. As they walked home together later that evening, side by side under the soft glow of streetlights, Alex felt a sense of hope and excitement that he hadn't felt in years. The blind date had been a strange, awkward detour, but it had led him to something far more meaningful. Maya, the person he had admired for so long, standing beside him as a partner and a friend. And for the first time in a long time, Alex felt truly happy, knowing that the courage to speak his heart had brought him to the place he had always wanted to be. The next morning, Alex woke up with a strange mix of excitement and nerves. The sunlight streamed gently through his window, casting a warm glow across his room. Today was not just any day. It was the day he would go on a real date with Maya. After years of hesitation, awkward moments, and missed opportunities, he finally had the chance to be honest about his feelings and to start something meaningful with the person he had admired for so long. He jumped out of bed, feeling a rush of energy he hadn't felt in years. He wanted everything to be perfect, not in a dramatic way, but in a way that showed Maya how much he cared. He chose his clothes carefully, picking a comfortable yet neat outfit, a soft green shirt, dark jeans, and a light jacket. He even made sure his shoes were polished and clean. As he dressed, he kept thinking about the conversation from last night, the way Maya had smiled at him, the way she had reached for his hand, the way she had laughed at his stories. "Okay, Alex," he muttered to himself in the mirror. "Today is the day. No fear, no hesitation. Just honesty and courage." Meanwhile, Maya was also getting ready. She laughed softly to herself as she thought about Alex, remembering his nervousness the previous night and how far he had come. She wanted today to be fun, relaxed, and full of laughter, the kind of day that would let them both enjoy each other's company without any pressure. She picked out a simple yet elegant outfit, comfortable sneakers, and tied her hair in a ponytail that framed her face nicely. She looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. Today felt different. It felt like a new beginning. Alex arrived at the little cafe they had agreed to meet at, a familiar place that had witnessed so many of his awkward moments, but now felt like the perfect spot for something new. Maya was already there, sitting at a small outdoor table sipping a cup of coffee. She looked up as he approached, and her eyes lit up. "Good morning," she said, her smile warm and inviting. "Good morning," Alex replied, a little shy but filled with anticipation. "You look amazing." Maya laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Thank you," she said. "You don't look too bad yourself, Mr. Pest." "Courageous." Alex chuckled, feeling the tension in his chest melt away. "Well, I had to step up my game," he admitted. "This is our first real date, after all." They ordered breakfast, a simple combination of coffee, pastries, and fresh juice, and then settled into the comfortable rhythm of conversation. They talked about everything: funny memories from the neighborhood, childhood stories, favorite books, and silly little moments that always seemed to make them laugh. Alex realized how easy it was to talk to Maya, how natural it felt to share thoughts and stories with her. "So," Maya said after a moment, a mischievous glint in her eyes, "tell me, Alex, are you going to be as nervous as you were yesterday?" Alex laughed, shaking his head. "I don't think so. I'm nervous, sure, but in a different way now. Yesterday, it was fear and embarrassment. Today, it's excitement." Maya smiled, reaching out to squeeze his hand across the table. "Good," she said softly, "because I want this to be fun, not stressful." They finished their breakfast and decided to take a walk in the nearby park. The sun had fully risen now, casting a golden glow over the trees and the soft grass. The birds chirped happily, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. It was the perfect day for a walk, a perfect day to enjoy each other's company without distractions or worries. As they strolled along the winding paths, Alex felt a sense of freedom and joy he hadn't experienced in a long time. He realized that all the awkward moments, the fear and hesitation had been worth it. They had led him to this moment. Walking beside Maya, sharing stories, laughter, and gentle glances, he understood that the courage to speak his heart had brought him something far more meaningful than he could have imagined. They stopped by a small fountain in the center of the park, watching the water ripple and sparkle in the sunlight. Children ran past them, laughing and playing, while couples strolled hand in hand, enjoying the peaceful morning. Alex turned to Maya, feeling a wave of sincerity and affection. "Maya," he said softly, "I want to thank you for being patient with me, for noticing me even when I didn't have the courage to notice myself, for giving me a chance to be honest about my feelings." Maya smiled, her eyes soft and full of warmth. "Alex," she said gently, "you don't need to thank me. I've always known how you felt."
"I just wanted you to realize it yourself. And now, here we are."
Alex felt his heart swell with happiness. "Here we are," he echoed, smiling. They continued walking, stopping occasionally to admire the flowers, watch a squirrel scurry across the grass, or laugh at a funny comment from the other. The morning passed effortlessly, filled with joy, laughter, and a sense of connection that made everything else fade away. After a while, they found a quiet bench under a large oak tree and decided to sit for a moment. The shade was cool and comforting, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. Alex turned to Maya, feeling a surge of emotion. "Maya," he said, taking her hand in his, "I want this to be the start of something real. Not just a day, but a journey we take together. Will you be my girlfriend?" Maya's eyes widened slightly, a mixture of surprise and happiness lighting up her face. She laughed softly, squeezing his hand gently. "Yes, Alex," she said, her voice full of warmth.
"I've been waiting for you to ask. Of course I will."
Alex felt a wave of relief and joy wash over him. He realized that the nervousness, the awkward blind date, the hesitation, all of it had led to this perfect moment. He had finally taken the chance, and it had brought him something he had always wanted. They spent the rest of the morning exploring the park, enjoying ice cream from a small vendor, and taking pictures with their phones to capture the memories. Every laugh, every shared glance, every playful comment deepened their connection, and made Alex feel more certain than ever that he had made the right choice. As the afternoon approached, they found themselves at a small pond where ducks swam lazily and the sunlight reflected off the water like 1,000 tiny diamonds. Alex and Maya sat at the edge, their feet dangling just above the water, talking quietly about dreams, hopes, and small moments that made life special. "You know," Maya said after a moment, leaning her head on his shoulder, "I think this is the best day I've had in a long time." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest that he had never felt before. "It feels right, like this is exactly where I'm supposed to be." They stayed there for a while, enjoying the peaceful moment, until the sun began to dip lower, painting the sky with shades of orange, pink, and purple. Alex realized that the day had been perfect, not because of grand gestures or elaborate plans, but because it had been honest, simple, and filled with connection. As the evening approached, they walked back toward the cafe where they had started the day, still holding hands, still laughing, and still enjoying each other's company. Alex felt a sense of contentment and happiness that he hadn't experienced before. "Maya," he said softly as they reached the cafe, "thank you. For today, for yesterday, for everything. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I want to face it with you." Maya smiled, her eyes shining. "And I want to face it with you too, Alex," she said, squeezing his hand gently. As they parted ways that evening, both felt a sense of hope, joy, and anticipation for the days to come. The awkward blind date, the missed chances, the hesitation, all of it had led them to this point. And now, finally, Alex and Maya were stepping into a new chapter of their lives, together, filled with laughter, honesty, and the promise of something wonderful. For Alex, it was a lesson in courage, patience, and the importance of speaking from the heart. For Maya, it was a confirmation that sometimes waiting is worth it, especially when it leads to something real. And for both of them, it was the start of a journey that would bring joy, companionship, and love, one step at a time.